In this video, I'm going to do a step-by-step beginner tutorial on how to trade futures on BTCC. If you're still relatively new to the platform and you'd like to learn about some of the basic functions like how to deposit assets onto the platform or buy and sell on the spot market, I did make a separate tutorial for that, and I'll be sure to leave a link to that video in the description down below for anyone that might find that helpful. In this video, I'll be focusing on futures trading. I'm going to show you how to internally transfer assets into your futures account. Then from there, we'll head into the futures market. I'll show you all the different pairings and asset classes that are available to trade on the futures market. There's crypto pairings, tokenized stock pairings, as well as commodity pairings. After that, I'll get you familiar with the user interface. I'll explain the margin mode and how to adjust your leverage. Then from there, I'll demonstrate how to trade long and short using market orders, limit orders, and how to set up take profits and stop losses as well. All of that and more with some tips and tricks along the way. If you'd like to create an account on BTCC, I left you a verified link in the description of this video and in the pinned comment down below. If you use that link to create an account, you'll be saving 10% on all your trading fees for the lifetime of your account. BTCC is also often running promotions for people who are signing up. These can be Tether deposit bonuses, welcome rewards, and more. So if you use my link when creating your account, you'll be saving 10% on all your trading fees and be eligible for the current promotion, whatever that might be by the time you're watching this video. You'll also be supporting my channel at no extra cost to you. This video is not financial advice and is for educational purposes only. Always do your own research before ever using an exchange, including BTCC. I also left you some timestamps in the description down below, so at any point feel free to skip to a section that might be most relevant to you. Aside from that, don't forget to leave me a like and hit subscribe. Let's get into the video. If you clicked on my link in the description of this video, or in the pinned comment down below, you should be redirected to this page right here or some variation of it. You'll notice here on your computer that you can create an account by using an email, or you can click here and use a mobile number. Simply choose the option that makes the most sense to you. Then come up with a good password and simply click on next. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll be able to see the promotion that is currently available to you. Now, at the time of making this video, the current promotion is you can unlock up to 30,000 USDT in welcome rewards. Also, keep in mind that if you used my link when creating your account, you'll be saving 15% on all your trading fees for the lifetime of your account, in addition to whatever promotion might be available to you up here as well. So if anybody needs to create an account, now's a good time to pause the video, create your account, and I'll see you on the next step of this tutorial. Alright, let's go ahead and start this tutorial right here on the asset overview page. So if you're not already on this page, you can get here by simply coming up top right hand side where it says assets, and then click on your balance up at the top, even if your balance currently says 0. This is going to bring you over to the asset overview page where you'll see all the different assets that you hold on account, but you'll also see all the different accounts that you have on BTCC right here as well. So obviously before trading the Tether pairings on BTCC, you'll have to first deposit some Tether onto the platform. Then you need to make sure that that Tether is inside your futures account. So if you haven't already deposited Tether onto the platform, you can get that done by coming over here on the right hand side. You'll see there's a crypto deposit button right here, but you'll also see a crypto deposit button up here at the top right hand side as well. Click on either one of those. Then right here, select crypto deposit by giving it a click. That's going to bring you over to a standard crypto deposit form where you can proceed to deposit some Tether or another digital asset onto the platform. Now, I cover this in more detail in my BTCC step-by-step beginner tutorial, so if anybody needs any further assistance with this or wants to see a demonstration on how it works, be sure to check that video out. I'll leave a link for it in the description down below for anyone that might find that helpful. In this video, my intention is to focus on futures trading. So we're going to head back to the asset overview page by coming right up here where it says assets and clicking on our balance up at the top in this drop-down window. And now we're back to the asset overview page. So once you deposit some Tether onto the platform, it's very possible that it went straight to your futures account, but it can also go to your wallet account as well. You'll notice if I click on my wallet account right here, that I have a little bit of Tether inside this account. So I need to transfer this Tether from my wallet account and into my futures account before trading any of the Tether pairings on the futures market. So to get that done, you'll notice if we come up here on the right hand side, you'll see that there's a transfer button right here. Alternatively, if you hover over assets, you'll also find a transfer button in this drop down window. Again, click on either one of those. And that's going to bring you over to a transfer form where you can internally transfer your assets between your BTCC accounts. There's no fees to get this done. It's simply an internal transfer. So my Tether is inside my wallet account and I need to transfer it into the futures account. If you look here, you'll see that this is currently set up to transfer from futures and into wallet. So I need to flip those two around by simply clicking on these arrows right here like this. Now you can see I've configured this form to transfer from my wallet account and into the futures account. If your assets are in a different account, you can always just click right here, select the account that your assets are in, and then of course you'd click right here and select the account you wish to transfer them into. Of course, I'm going to be leaving this as it is. Of course, I'm transferring Tether, so I'm going to be leaving this as it is. And you'll be able to see your available balance down below. So if you want to transfer a custom amount, you can do that by just typing in the amount you wish to transfer like this, or you can always use one of these quick options down below here. I'll go ahead and just click on 100% to transfer all of it, and I'm going to go ahead and click on confirm. And transfer successful. So I just instantly transferred that Tether from my wallet account and into the futures account. I could go straight to trading futures by clicking right here, but before we do that, let's go ahead and just close this out. Let's come back up here to where it says assets. We'll click on our balance up at the top. And when we come back here to the asset overview page, you'll notice that I'm set to futures right here. And now you can see that Tether is inside my futures account. So now I'm ready to trade the Tether pairings on the futures market. To get into the futures market, we're going to come right up here where it says futures. And let's go ahead and just click right here up at the top where it says USDT M perpetual futures. And this is going to bring you into the futures market user interface. I don't need to see a tutorial. I'm literally creating one, so I'm going to go ahead and just close this out. You'll find all your different pairings if you come right up here, top left-hand side, just above the chart. In my case, where it says BTC USDT, give that a click. And this will give you a drop-down menu showing you all the different pairings and assets that you can trade on the futures market. You'll see in my case here that I'm set to USDT M perpetual futures, which means all these pairings down below are quoted in Tether. So all profits and losses will be settled in Tether. At the time of making this video, these are the most popular pairings on the platform, so this is where most of the liquidity is going to be. Simply click on the asset that you wish to trade. Alternatively, you can always search for one in the search bar up above. So if you wanted to do a tokenized stock, you could always just type in the ticker. Let's do Tesla, TSLA. And you can see there's a pairing that comes up right here. If I click on that, you can see I just configured the pairing to Tesla versus Tether. So now I can go long or short on Tesla. Long means betting on the price to go up. Short means betting on the price to go down. If I want to change this to something else, we'll give it a click. And let's just go ahead and set this back to Bitcoin. I'll type in the ticker symbol for Bitcoin, which is BTC. And I can see Bitcoin versus Tether right here, so I'll give that a click. And as you can see, I just changed this back to Bitcoin versus Tether. So now I'm set up to go long or short on Bitcoin. So that's how you can find all the different pairings that are available to trade on the platform. This chart right here is powered by TradingView, and to make sure you're looking at the TradingView chart as well, just look up here, top right hand side. You'll notice that it says basic or TradingView. Make sure you're set to TradingView. This means you're going to have access to some drawing tools as well as some basic indicators from TradingView. You'll be able to see your drawing tools over here on the left hand side, and next to each one of these tools is a tiny little triangle. If you click on that, it expands into a drop down menu where you'll find additional drawing tools that you can use. If you want to use an indicator, just come right up to this little tab right here. You'll see it says technical indicators. Give that a click. You'll get a pop-up window here, and this is where you're going to find a bunch of basic indicators from TradingView. If there's something specific that you're looking for, such as the relative strength index, you can always just type in RSI. You can see it right here. If we left click on that, close this out, you can see I just added the RSI to the bottom of the chart. If I want to get rid of the RSI, I just click on this little trash icon inside this pane right here, just like that. Now, as you can see, I just got rid of the RSI. You'll find your different time frames up here just above the chart. You can see by default, this was set to the 1 minute chart, meaning that each candlestick down below represents 1 minute of time. I literally never trade on a 1 minute chart myself, so let's go ahead and change that. If you want to change it to a different time frame, just click on the time frame you wish to view. Let's go ahead and click on the hourly here. This means that each candlestick down below now represents an hour of time. If you want to find additional time frames, just click on this tiny little triangle right here. you'll see you'll get a drop down here where you'll find additional time frames. I'm going to go ahead and click right here on the 4-hour time frame. Now, as you can see, I just changed the chart to a 4-hour time frame. Now each candlestick represents 4 hours of time. You'll also notice this little tab right here that you can use to place orders. I like to use the order panel, so I'm going to go ahead and just click on this little X right here to get rid of that altogether. Now we don't have that floating around on the chart, but if you like it, certainly leave it there. And next to the price action chart is where you'll find your order book, and that's showing you where market participants have placed their orders to open long positions, betting on the price to go up, or their short positions, betting on the price to go down, or their take profit target on their open positions. And they're doing this by using limit orders, which I'll be demonstrating in this tutorial. On the top side of the order book in red, these are the price points that market participants have placed their orders to open a short position or their take profit on their long positions. Down below in green, these are the price points that market participants have placed their orders to open a long position or their take profit on their short position. This price in the middle of the order book is just simply called the mid price, and that's the price that the asset is currently trading at. So all these price points up above are going to be greater than the mid price, and all these price points down below will be less than the mid price. When a trader comes along and executes a market order, they're matched up with the best available price off the order book, and their trade is executed immediately. And I'll be demonstrating market orders in this tutorial as well. Now, right down below that, you'll see this little panel here that says market trades, and that's simply showing you all the trades being executed in real time. All the sells are coming in red, and all the buys are coming in green. In the price column, you're seeing the price point that the trade was successfully executed at. In the amount column, you can see how much of the asset was traded, and in the time column, you can see the time that that successful trade went through at. When the market gets really volatile, this tiny little panel can get quite active. Now up here is where you're going to find your order panel, where you can open long positions betting on the price to go up, or short positions betting on the price to go down. And you'll find your different order types right up at the top here. You'll see there's a market order, limit order, and you can see SLTP, which stands for stop loss, take profit, and I'll be demonstrating these in this tutorial. And right up above the order panel, right here, you'll see the margin mode, as well as your leverage. Now, at the time of making this video, BTCC is using cross margin mode. What this means is that BTCC is using your entire futures account balance, so anything that you transfer into your futures account, as collateral across all of your open positions. Whether you're trading with 2 open positions, 5 open positions, or 10 open positions. If you get liquidated, you lose all your tether inside your futures account. Now, in some cases, cross margin can also help prevent liquidation. For example, let's imagine that you have 2 trades open. You have a Bitcoin long position and an Ethereum long position, betting on the price of those assets to go up. In this hypothetical scenario, let's imagine that Bitcoin is going up and is becoming profitable for you. But maybe Ethereum is going down and that trade is going against you. The profits from your Bitcoin position will be temporarily offsetting your losses from your short position. So in some cases, this can help prevent liquidation as well. But more importantly, you can always prevent liquidation with proper risk management, position sizing, and with a stop loss, which I'll be demonstrating how to set stop losses in this tutorial. But just keep in mind that if you get liquidated on cross margin mode, you lose all your tether inside your futures account. Now right here, you'll see your leverage. By default, mine was set to 20x, which in my opinion is a lot of leverage. So if you want to change that, just click on it and you'll get this pop-up window down below. You can use the slider bar if you want. You'll notice if I slide this around that the leverage changes there inside that box, and then you just let go of left click. But you can always just go ahead and type in a custom amount. So for example, let's do 2x leverage. What this means is I can put on position sizing 2 times greater than the collateral inside my futures account, whether I'm spreading that across 2 positions, 5 positions, 10 positions, or just 1 position. If I was to change this to 5x leverage like this, that means I can put on position sizing 5 times greater than my futures account balance, whether that's on 1 position or 10 positions. So as you can see, leverage obviously maximizes your gains because it technically gives you money to trade with that you don't actually have. But it's more important to understand that leverage also maximizes your losses, or it can get you completely liquidated. The more leverage that you use, the easier it is to get liquidated. Remember, these platforms are not going to allow you to go into debt. So when you're using leverage, if a position starts to go against you, there is a threshold called your liquidation price point that will liquidate your account, force all your positions closed, and that's the end of that. So it's really important to understand that leverage maximizes your losses or gets you completely liquidated. So keep that in mind when choosing how much leverage you wish to trade with. The more leverage that you use, the easier it is to get liquidated. So I'm just going to leave that set to 5x, and I'm going to click here on confirm. Now, when we come back up here above the order panel, you'll see that I've changed that to 5x leverage. All right, first I'll demonstrate a market order. These order types are nice and simple. They're going to execute immediately at the best available price off the order book. Whether you're opening a long position, betting on the price of the asset to go up, or opening a short position, betting on the price of the asset to go down. So the first thing we want to do is come up here, top left-hand side, click on the pairings, and of course, select the asset you wish to trade from this menu here, or you can search for it in the search bar. I'm fine demonstrating with Bitcoin, so I'm going to be leaving this as it is. Next, we'll come over here to the order panel, and we'll make sure the order panel is set to market. Mine already is, but if it wasn't, I'd click there on market. After that, we simply need to choose the size of the position we wish to open. And I'll demonstrate with a long position first, betting on the price of the asset to go up. So if we quickly look down here, you'll see it says max long. What this is showing me is the maximum position size I can put on for a long position in green or a short position in red based on my collateral, which we can see right here. So I have 351 Tether inside my futures account, but also the amount of leverage that I'm using right here, which is currently 5x. So this is factoring the maximum position size I can put on for this trade. So what I'll do for this demonstration is I'll go ahead and just click right here on the quantity box, and I'll type in 0.01. Now, if I look down here, I can see how much margin initially is required to open this position, which is 134 Tether from my available balance right here. Keep in mind, you can always use this slider bar down below. You'll notice if I slide this up to say 76%, that's going to use 76% of my available collateral to open this position. If I slid this all the way up to 100% like this, that would put 100% of my available collateral into this position. But I'm just going to go ahead, click back on this box here and do a position size of 0.01 just to keep this nice and simple. So now that I have my order set up the way that I want it, I'm going to come down here and click on Open Long, betting on the price of Bitcoin to go up. Now I'm getting my order confirmation pop-up window here so I can confirm the details are what I intended, and I can see that indeed they are. So I'm just going to go ahead and click right here on Order Confirmation. And just like that, I opened that long position at the best available price off the order book. You'll notice if we look at the chart here now, I'll just zoom it out a little bit. You can actually see my long position on the chart itself inside this little box right here. You'll also be able to see more details of your trade. If you look down below, you should see it right here. Now, if you can't, just make sure you're set to the positions tab right over here. You can see I already am, but if I wasn't, I'd just go ahead and give that a click. And here's where you'll see the details of all your open positions. And you'll see your unrealized P&L right here. And in my case, I'm getting absolutely destroyed. I'm already down 32 cents of Tether. Now only 14 cents of Tether. You'll also be able to see your estimated liquidation price right here. So in my case, my estimated liquidation price is down at 37,514. So if the price of Bitcoin was to fall all the way down and hit 37,514, this position would get liquidated and I would lose all the collateral inside my futures account, which was 350 Tether. Now, if you'd like to set a stop loss to avoid liquidation altogether, just come right underneath here where it says take profit stop loss. You'll see there's a little add box here. Give that a click. This will give you this pop-up window right here where you can set a stop loss in this box, but you can also set a take profit in this box as well. So just for the purpose of demonstration, let's imagine I'm targeting 70,000 as my take profit. I would click on this box right here and just simply type that in, just like this. Now, when you look right here, you can see that BTCC is estimating how much my profit would be if Bitcoin was to pop up and hit 70,000. I'd make about 27 Tether on that trade. Now let's go ahead and set the stop loss. And for the sake of demonstration, let's imagine that I want to set my stop loss just below 67,000. If we look here on the mid price of the order book, we can see that Bitcoin's currently trading at 67,200. So I'm going to come down here and let's go ahead and do 66,890, something like that. Now we can see right here that BTCC is estimating how much I would lose if this trade was to go against me and hit my stop loss. Now right here, I'm just going to leave this set to 100%, meaning that if my take profit gets hit, 100% of my position will be closed. And if my stop loss gets hit, same thing, 100% of my position will be closed. This looks fine for this demonstration, so I'm going to go ahead and click here on confirm. And just like that, I added a take profit as well as a stop loss to this position. Now, if we come back to the chart, you can see my take profit is now represented by this box right here, as well as that green line. And you can see in this orange box down below my stop loss, which is just below my entry price there. Now you can easily amend these as well by just simply grabbing onto them. For example, let's imagine that I want to move my take profit target perhaps somewhere up around this pivot right here. What I'll do is I'll come over to this box, hold down left click, and as you can see, I can actually move it now. So if I move it up to that pivot like this, let go of left click, you can see I just instantly amended that profit up to 70,703. And if you look right here, you can see that my estimated P&L will now be 34 Tether if this take profit target gets hit. We can do the same thing with the stop loss. Let's imagine that I want to move my stop loss just below this wick right here. Maybe that's my line in the sand. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? If the price starts to wick below that, maybe that's signaling to me that Bitcoin's ready to go much lower and I want to get the heck out of the way before I get wrecked. So I'm going to come over here to this little orange box. We're going to grab onto that. Let's drag it just below that wick. Maybe something like that. Let go of left click. And as you can see, I just amended the stop loss down to 66,247. Inside that box, I can see now that my estimated loss is going to be $10.39 of Tether if the stop loss gets hit. So quite simply, if Bitcoin finds its footing from here, works its way up, hits my take profit at 70,703, BTCC is automatically going to close this position in a profit for me, even if I'm fast asleep in the middle of the night. But if Bitcoin was to fall through support like a trap door and waterfall to the downside, it'll be hitting my stop loss up here at 66,247, and I'd be taken out of the trade with a loss of approximately 10 Tether. Now, if you want to cancel these, you can do that by just simply clicking on the X inside this little box here. So you can see if I left click on my take profit like this, then click on confirm, you can see I just got rid of the take profit. Another way to do this is come down here, click where it says open orders, and here's where you'll be able to see your take profit and stop loss. You can see my stop loss is still set at 66,247. If I want to cancel it from here, I'd come over here on the right hand side and click on cancel and confirm. And as you can see, I just got rid of the stop loss. Now at any point, if you want to manually close a position, we can do that by clicking on the positions tab right here. And you'll find your close options over here. You'll see there's a reverse option and there's a close option. Now, if you were to click on reverse, what that's going to do is it's going to immediately close your trade and open the same trade, but in the other direction. So in my case here, if I was to click on reverse, that's going to close my long position and it's going to immediately put me in a short position betting on the price to go down. It'll be the same position size as well as the same amount of leverage. So I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to be clicking on reverse. So I'm going to go ahead and click here on close. Then you'll get this pop-up window right here, and this allows you to close the position immediately. If you want to close all of it, just make sure you leave this slider bar up at 100%, and then you just click here on close. And as you can see, I just instantly closed that long position at the best available price off the order book. Now I'll quickly do one more demonstration, but this time I'll show you how you can set your take profit and stop loss while you're opening your position. So what we would do is we come back up here to the order panel, make sure we're set to market. For this demonstration, I'll do a short position betting on the price of the asset to go down. So from here, what I need to do is choose the position size, and I'll just do the same position size I was doing before. I'll go 0.01 BTC. Now before opening this trade to the downside, I'm going to click on this little box right here where it says set TPSL. You'll notice you'll get a drop down with two boxes to set your take profit here and your stop loss here. So let's quickly head over here to the chart. And just for the sake of demonstration, let's imagine that I want to target the bottom of this wick right here as my take profit on the short position. So what I'll do is I'll come up here to the drawing tools. I'm going to grab a horizontal line. I'm going to click on this little triangle next to trend line, and I can see a horizontal line right here. I'll click on that. Now I'm going to go ahead and mark that wick just like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart that's correlated to that horizontal coming in at 60,129. And I'll use that as my take profit target on the short position. So we'll come over here and I'll just simply type that into this box like this, 60,129. Now let's go ahead and do the stop loss. We'll come back over here to the chart and let's imagine for the sake of demonstration that I want to set a stop loss maybe somewhere just above this pivot back here on the market. What I'll do is I'll grab that horizontal again. I'm going to mark a spot just above that pivot, something like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming at 69,545. So I'm going to come over here to stop loss and I'll go ahead and type that in, 69,545. Of course, choose price points that make the most sense for your trade idea. I'm just simply doing a demonstration on how the tool works here. So now that I have my position size figured out, and my take profit and stop loss, I'm ready to open this short position. So I'm going to go ahead and click here on open short. Now I can confirm the details are what I intended, and indeed they are. And you can see this time that once I open this position, that a take profit and a stop loss will be added immediately. My take profit will be added at 60,129 as intended, and my stop loss will be added at 69,545. You'll see my estimated liquidation price way up at 96,000, but I don't have to worry about that because I'm using a stop loss way down at 69,545. So this looks good to me. I'm going to click here on order confirmation. And just like that, I opened that short position at the best available price on the order book. And my stop loss and take profit was added immediately. If I zoom this chart out like this, let's go ahead and get rid of these horizontal lines that I drew like this. And we'll go like this. Now you can see my take profit in this green box right down here and my stop loss right up here. And of course, you can always amend those by grabbing onto them and moving them like I showed you before. And of course, if we want to cancel those, we'll just click on the X inside those boxes. Let's get rid of the stop loss like this. Confirm. Stop loss gone. Let's get rid of the take profit. Click. Confirm. Gone. And another way to close your trade manually is you can always click on this little X inside your position. So if I click right here, you can see that I just instantly closed that position at the best available price off the order book. So that's how you can use a market order, and that's how you can set a take profit and stop loss for your market order as well. Now I'll demonstrate a limit order. These order types give you the ability to choose a price point that you wish to place an order to open a long position, or a price point that you wish to place an order to open a short position. But you will need the price of the asset to reach your order price before your order is going to fill and execute your trade. You can also save on fees by using limit orders, and that's because you're placing the order onto the order book. So this makes you a market maker. And exchanges do like to incentivize traders to add liquidity to their order book, and they do that by charging a smaller fee for limit orders versus using market orders. When you use a market order, you're removing liquidity off the order book, so you're a market taker. And usually you'll pay a higher fee for the convenience of that. And I'll show you where to find the fees towards the end of this tutorial. So to use a limit order, of course, come up to your pairings, give it a click, choose the asset that you wish to trade. I'm going to stay with Bitcoin, so I'll be leaving this as it is. Next, we're going to come over here to the order panel, and we'll make sure we click here on limit. Now I need to choose a price point that I wish to place an order at. For this first demonstration, I'll place an order to open a long position, so betting on the price of the asset to go up. So let's quickly head over here to the chart, and just for the sake of demonstration, let's imagine that I'm bullish on Bitcoin, but maybe I think Bitcoin's going to pull back a little bit further before finding some support and then moving to a higher price point. Maybe when I look left on the chart, I'm looking somewhere right around these wicks right here. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and come up here to the drawing tools and I'm going to grab a horizontal line. Again, if you don't see your horizontal lines, just click on this little triangle, then you can grab a horizontal line right here. And I'm going to go ahead and mark those wicks out something like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming in at 62,887. And maybe I'd like to try to place an order to open a long position at that price point. So I'm going to come up here to the order panel and I'm going to type that into price. I'm going to go 62,887. Now I need to choose the size of the order. So I'm going to do that in the quantity box. Again, you'll be able to see your maximum position size that you can put on right here. I just have a tiny amount of collateral here. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just do 0.01 BTC, which I do believe is the minimum size position that you're able to open for Bitcoin. So that'll work just fine for this demonstration. So now I'm ready to place my order to open a long position. So I'm going to come down here and click on Open Long. Now I'm getting my order confirmation pop-up window. So I can confirm the details are what I intended, and indeed they are. I'll be placing this order down at 62,887. If this order fills, my position size will be 0.01 BTC. So it looks good. I'm going to click here on Order Confirmation. And just like that, I put that order onto the order book. If we look at the chart here, I'll delete my horizontal line now like this. Obviously, we can see my limit order sitting right on the chart itself in this box right here. So very simply, if Bitcoin was to continue to the downside and hit this green line at 62,887, this order is going to automatically fill and put me into a long position, even if I'm away from the computer or fast asleep in the middle of the night. If you want to amend this order, you can always grab onto it. And of course, we can now move it. So maybe I wanted to move it down all the way to the bottom of that wick over there on the left-hand side. I can let go of left click. And as you can see, I just moved that limit order down to 60,373. At any point, if I want to cancel that limit order, I can always just click on this little X inside this box, or you can come down here, click where it says Open Orders, and here's where you'll be able to see your order that's resting on the order book, and you can come over here and click on Cancel. Now this order is going to stay on the order book until it either fills or I manually cancel it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Cancel right here and confirm. And as you can see, I just took that order off of the order book. So I'll do one more demonstration here with a short position. And of course, I'll show you how you can add your take profit and stop loss while you're placing your order. So again, we'll come back up here to the order panel, make sure we're set to limit, and let's choose a price point to open a short position this time. So betting on the price to go down. So I'm going to come over here to the chart. I'll zoom it in a little bit, and maybe I'm bearish on Bitcoin, but perhaps I think it's going to pop up a little bit here before rolling over and then moving to a lower price point. Maybe I'm looking at a price point just below this last pivot on the market right here, maybe somewhere around the bottom side of these wicks here. So what I'll do is I'll come over here and grab a horizontal line from the drawing tools. Let's go ahead and mark those wicks something like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming in at 72,493. So I'm going to come up here to price and I'm going to type that in. We're going to go 72,493. Of course, I need to choose the size of this order. So I'll click on the quantity box and I'll go ahead and just do the minimum size Bitcoin order here of 0.01. Now, before placing this order, I'm going to click on this take profit stop loss box like this. And now I can add my take profit here and my stop loss here. So let's head back over here to the chart. I'm going to zoom it out a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and just click on auto like this. Perfect. And let's imagine that I want to target this pivot right here as my take profit if my order was to fill. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a horizontal here. Let's mark that spot again, something like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming at 62,887. So let's go ahead and come over here to the take profit box and type that in, 62,887. Now let's go ahead and do the stop loss. So back on over here to the chart, I'm going to zoom it in with the wheel of my mouse just like this. Let's imagine that I want to set my stop loss just above this pivot right here, just before Bitcoin did this waterfall to the downside. Maybe I'm thinking to myself, if Bitcoin pops up, fills my order here, but keeps going, getting above this last lower high in a series of lower highs, by the way, that maybe I want to get the heck out of the way before I get wrecked. So what I'll do is I'll grab a horizontal, and this time I'm going to mark a spot just above that pivot, something like this. Good enough for this demonstration. Again, I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming at 74,436. Let's go ahead and use that as the stop loss in this demonstration. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to type that into stop loss, 74,436. Now I'm ready to place my order to open the short position. So I'm going to click here on open short. Confirm the details are what you intended. If they are, click here on order confirmation. And I just placed that order onto the order book. So if we zoom the chart out again with the wheel of the mouse, let's go ahead and get rid of all these horizontals just like this. Get rid of this one as well. And we'll get rid of this one right here. So in my case here, if Bitcoin was to pop up, coming all the way up here, hitting this red line at 72,493, this short order is going to fill and put me into an active short position. If that happens, my stop loss will be immediately added at this dotted line up here, and my take profit will be added down here. So for this trade idea to work, I need Bitcoin to pop up, fill my order at 72,493. Then I need it to roll over and come all the way down, hitting 62,887. If that happens, this short position will be closed in a profit. And I can see that that profit is estimated at 96 Tether. But if Bitcoin comes up, hits my sell order right here, filling it, but then just melts to the upside, I'll be stopped out on this orange dotted line right here, and I'll take a loss of 19 Tether. That stop loss and take profit will only be added if the order fills up here at 72,493. So if Bitcoin just falls off a cliff from here, works its way to the downside, I'm going to miss out on all of this because the price of Bitcoin failed to come up and fill my order at 72,493. Of course, if you want to see more details of this order, you can find it if you come down here. Make sure you click where it says open orders, and this is where you'll see all your limit orders that are resting on the order book. And in this case here, you can see over here at take profit and stop loss that my take profit and stop loss will be added the moment this order fills. If you want to cancel it from here, you can come over here, click on cancel just like this, and confirm. And just like that, I removed that short order off of the order book. And when I did that, it immediately canceled the take profit and stop loss as well. So that's how you can use a limit order. All right, let's start talking about fees. So the first one I want to show you is the funding rate. So if you come up here just above the chart, you'll see that there's an area that says funding rate. Now at the time of making this video, we can see that Bitcoin has a negative funding rate of 0.009%. You'll also see a countdown timer right here. So what this means is that anybody that's holding on to a short position currently will be paying that funding rate to traders that are holding a long position when this countdown timer reaches 0. If this funding rate is still negative when the countdown timer reaches 0, everybody holding a short position will be settling that funding rate with traders holding a long position. Now, more often you'll see a positive funding rate. And what that means is that traders holding a long position will be settling the funding rate with traders holding short positions when the countdown timer reaches 0. And this helps keep the perpetual contract confluent with the spot underlying price of the asset. This makes sure that the perpetual contract doesn't get wildly different in price than the spot price of the asset. Now, sometimes you can see really high funding rates, and funding rates can vary depending on the asset that you're trading. So for Bitcoin, it's already somewhat unusual to see a negative funding rate, but a 0.009% funding rate is on the low to normal side for Bitcoin. Usually you'll see a 0.01% funding rate that's positive. For an altcoin, that can be wildly different. So I would suggest researching the asset that you're trading to try to figure out what a normal funding rate is, because sometimes you'll see a really high funding rate. Remember, this is to help keep the asset at parity with its spot underlying price. So if too many traders are piled on the short side or piled on the long side, this funding rate can drastically increase. And that means that it's becoming expensive for traders to hold on to that position. So a lot of the time, you'll see a high funding rate at an inflection point on the market. So it's always worthwhile to pay attention to the funding rate and to try to identify what is an abnormal funding rate for the asset that you're trading. As I mentioned, this can vary wildly just depending on the asset that you're trading. Now, like I mentioned, for Bitcoin, this is a fairly normal funding rate, except it's a negative funding rate. Mostly you'll see a positive funding rate here for Bitcoin. So a couple things to consider when looking at the funding rate. All right, to find your trading fees, we're going to come right up here to where your profile icon is and just go ahead and click right here. So where it says VIP. That'll bring you to this page here. And if you scroll down just like so, you're going to find all your fee rates down below here. So first of all, identify which VIP level you are. I'm just level 1 here. I'm not that important. And if you look over here, you'll be able to see your futures taker and maker fees. Remember, taker fee is for market orders and maker fee is for limit orders. So if you're a VIP 1 like me, you're going to be paying 0.06% for your taker fee, and you'll be paying 0.02% for your maker fee. So as you can see, you can save a lot on fees by using limit orders right here. Also keep in mind that anybody that uses my link when signing up is going to be saving 15% on all their trading fees for the lifetime of their account as well. Now, these fees could be different by the time you're seeing this video, so it's always worthwhile to pop in here and see what the fees are at before you start trading. But this is where you can find all your trading fees. And there you have it, your introduction to trading futures on BTCC. If you got some value out of that, don't forget to leave me a like and hit subscribe for future content. Also feel free to check out my other BTCC tutorials, which I've put together in a playlist on my YouTube channel. Thanks for coming by and checking out this video. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one, and until I do, have yourself a powerful day.